O'clock here. I see 3 o'clock. I will call to order the September 14th meeting of the Richland County Rules and Appointments Committee. If you'll please call the roll.
Malinowski.
Here.
Barron.
Here.
Mackey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the approval of minutes. Anybody have any changes, additions, deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Vote to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. There's no further discussion. Miss Only?
Malinowski.
Recording
Yes.
in progress.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next, number 3, adoption of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion. First off, Miss Only, any changes there?
No, sir.
No, okay.
Vote to approve. Second.
Motion and a second for approval. No additional discussion. Miss Only?
Malinowski.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Mackey. Motion passes.
2. First item, under the adoption of the agenda, number 4, interviews. And I have a question on the very first one, Business Service Center. Printed that out, what you sent me. I don't know where I put it right now, but it says here, 4 vacancies. Applicants must be from the business industry and 2 a CPA. But I was looking back at what we had previously been given for the makeup of this particular committee, and it said 5 vacancies, 1 from the business sector, 3 accountants, and 1 other one from something. Get a clarification on that to make sure we're doing it right.
There are 4 vacancies
There you
according to my notes.
And this is Business Service Center Appeals Board. In a March 2nd, 2021 agenda that listed it, and I don't know if it's changed in what we have here. It says 5 members for 4 years, 1 business, 1 attorney, 3 CPAs.
And according to this paperwork that is in my folder, there can be no more than 3 CPAs, no less than 2, and no more than 2 and no less than 1 bar member, which would be the legal profession, and then no more than 2 or no less than 1 business. Yeah, I know. It's
Boy, if that isn't...
It's the breakup that Pam Davis provided when she was here.
There now.
Zachary Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I hadn't been there.
Yeah.
Mr. Malinowski, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
If I can be recognized. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zach Kavanaugh. I'm the Director of Business Services for the Richland County Business Service Center. I can kind of clarify your question. Ideally, on our board, we would want 2 CPAs, 1 attorney, and 2 individuals from the business industry.
All right, 2 CPAs, 1 attorney, and 2 from the business?
Ideally, yes, sir. And a CPA could also own its own CPA firm, which would, make them eligible for the spot for somebody from the business industry.
Okay, Ms. Only, I know where the item is that I printed out. It's still on the printer. I didn't grab them when I left with all this. What did it say as far as what qualifies as the business person, unless Zachary, if you know it right off?
No, yes, sir. I believe I sent you an email after the last committee meeting, and essentially the way I would interpret that, a local business owner who has a location within unincorporated Richland County, and or somebody who's part of a larger corporation, and I would prefer somebody from the executive leadership team, which would be a CEO, CFO, COO, something like that.
Okay. So not just the clerk handing out burgers through the McDonald's window as a business person, but somebody of a little
They
higher
would just be an
status.
employee of a business, yes, sir.
Right.
But yeah, somebody
Okay.
who has intimate knowledge of the day-to-day business activities.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
is this been provided in writing somewhere to update the descriptions? Or is this just?
Information, I would assume it would be a council policy from the past.
I think the information you provide is very useful. I would love to see it in writing so that when people actually apply, they know what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
And so that when they come and apply for a position, if they don't get selected, they know why up front.
Perfect.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
to that point, if indeed these are the recommendations for this group, I may be overlooking it, but the first candidate would not qualify.
And that's what I wrote. Also not qualified.
And could you remind me what the name of that candidate was, Councilwoman Barron?
Tanika Green.
So Tanika Green actually does have a current 2021 business license with our office. So she is a local business owner.
All right, now here's where the confusion comes in to me, if I can add to that question, is you know that she has a business license and you were able to check that. But what we have in front of us pretty much indicates she's an educator and she does
Right.
not mention business at all. So we wouldn't know that. I mean, you could get a business license, have nothing to do with business.
Correct, yeah, and I do see that her background is in education. And I just, I ran a report with, looking up her name in our database this morning, and she did obtain a business license this year in May for educational support services.
It was, and you would consider that equal to these other?
I believe the other candidate was a paralegal currently.
Yeah. So you would consider that equal to these, what you're saying, like a CEO, CFO, COO, because you own your own business?
Yeah, I would consider her a local business owner. Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna have to, I think, change the way we're doing business here with these applicants, because we out here in the committee only get to read what comes in and don't have the benefit of the intimate details that the county has. So,
Well, in her application, she does state under statement of financial or personal interest that I own an educational consulting firm in Richland County.
I do also see that, but to that point, it's buried in the particulars, and she has a very detailed resume.
Yeah.
And of which, as being a local business owner, that's the first thing that's at the top of my resume. It is, and I don't think that's something we should be having to dig for. I'm grateful that you're here to help us clarify this,
Yes, ma'am.
because if you had not been here,
we'd be re-advertised.
we would definitely not interview this
Sure,
this
and
candidate.
that's exactly why I wanted to attend today's meeting, because I know y'all had questions on the last
Thank you.
meeting, and I definitely wanted to make sure I was here to answer any of y'all's questions and
Thank
clarify
you.
some stuff y'all might have.
Okay, well, according to the man in charge, the current applicant and the one previously interviewed, which is Coulter R. Templeton, both qualify.
I would say so, yes, sir.
The other one, I think, was the paralegal.
I think Coulter is the paralegal, but I think they indicated on their application they did own two businesses previously, and I can leave that decision up to the committee's discretion. But I would say they would both qualify.
And you said that they previously, so
Right, and I think that was
long-
indicated.
So as long as they've been a business owner at any point, they don't necessarily have to have an active business.
Yes, ma'am, that would be fine with me. As long as they have an intimate knowledge of the regulations and restrictions that would apply to running a small business or even a large corporation, I would be fine with that. It's really easy to say, yeah, I'm a CPA, yeah, I'm an attorney. The business industry description, unfortunately, is not as straightforward.
Because you said they should be a local business owner located in unincorporated Richland County.
Ideally, yes,
But
sir.
now, in the case of Templeton, who could qualify based on the paralegal status, I'm guessing, a previous business doesn't seem to me that qualifies today. I could go back and show, there are people I know that had a business license 15, 20 years ago.
Right, and I'm also
used to have a business myself, so
that I would leave that up to the committee's discretion.
Well, the reason we're asking, and something like that, we don't really want it. At least I don't want it for my discretion. If we've got a qualified person, I don't want to be turning that person away. But we don't, again, want to appoint somebody that all of a sudden you see what we did and it's like, oh man, I wish they would have talked to me first. That person really isn't qualified. That's why we need a little bit more definitive set of rules here that we can look at and know what to go by.
Yes, sir. And I'm certainly able to provide y'all with the previous committee's recommendation from the past. But ideally, a local business owner or somebody, an individual who's part of an executive leadership team of a larger corporation that has a location here would be perfectly fine with me.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would say that for this is a prime example of what we talked about several meetings ago in having detailed, uniformed information as it relates to the overviews of these particular commissions and committees or boards. So I do think that we want to really look at, and this is for the clerk's office, to look at the information that we're capturing so that when we capture it, there's no guesswork, because I can't say it enough. I'm so glad you're here, because when I looked at it last night, I said, we're going to waste someone's time.
Sure.
And especially this is a 4-year appointment.
Yes, sir.
We definitely don't want to be putting the wrong person in there.
Thank you.
Okay. And Mr. Zachary says they qualify, so we'll move on. Thank you, sir, for showing up and giving us all that.
We did all that talking. Is she here?
That's what I was going to say. Now that we have the paperwork out of the way.
I believe Mary Ann Wright is our first interviewee.
Everyone else on the phone or by video?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So we're going down to Loretta.
Right here.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mary Ann Wright. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry. One moment, Mr. Chair. I just want to confirm how we're conducting the interview. So this is open and streaming to everyone still?
It would only be open to any staff that is here. That's
Okay.
fine. But I don't see anyone else other than staff and Ms. Wright.
And is this streaming to the public?
Not supposed to be. You're right.
And they hadn't changed it yet. Thank you.
I forgot about this.
that's listed at the top of her resume.
Previously owned. That resume.
No, she didn't include it. Vacancies. How many aren't there? 4 on this? Oh, that was the one that we didn't really get the clarification from him. I think 2, 3, 4. It's 5. There's 5 members, and that's when we got the old. Well, they want to have at least one of these, not more than 2 of those. 2 of these, not more than 3 of those. They need to come in with some definite stuff for us here, so we can see exactly what it is that they need. And if they have 4 vacancies, who is the one person that's left up there that makes the 5th one? If they needed 2 from the business industry, that's going to be over here, 2 from the business, 2 CPA, 1 paralegal, he said would qualify. So they must need a CPA yet. No?
They have 2 CPAs, a business person, and an attorney. So they need another business person, if possible.
And
It says there's 4 vacancies, though.
There he is. 1 is completely vacant. The other 2 are the.
Oh, they're coming up for rotation. That's what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so they need, what is it now? Just what you said here?
Yeah.
2 from business, 2 CPAs?
The people that are currently on right now, there's 2 CPAs, a business owner, and an attorney, and then there's 1 that's completely vacant.
Okay. All right, so we can appoint these folks if we want to.
And 2 business owners.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
So with the vacancies, they are as listed. There are 2 people from the business industry, 2 people that are CPAs. So these 4 people are currently seated, and when we replace them, they will be unseated. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Because apparently they didn't reapply to want to stay there.
I'm clear. I'm good.
All right. Yeah, okay, we're now out. Okay. Well, all we did was conduct interviews of individuals that have applied for Richland County Board commissions and committees, took no other action. We are now back in regular session to discuss the potential filling of the actual appointments of these individuals. Right now, though, before we go on with that, it's been pointed out to me that while we interviewed some individuals here under the interview for LRADAC, under number 4B, there were 2 people that we interviewed. When you look over under number 5, appointments, that did not get carried over there. So I'm going to ask for a motion to reconsider the agenda so we can add that over to the appointments section.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion to second to reconsider the agenda. The purpose is to, as I stated, to put the LRADAC appointments under number 5, and that would be 5E. There's no further, well, one other thing I noticed, Ms. Only, we've got under appointments, we have A, 1 and 2, B, 1 and 2, C. When we get down to D, we have D, A, and B. Do you recall how it is on the regular council agenda? If it's that way, we can leave it, but if not, I would think it would be 1 and 2 like all the others.
think it's the same way.
Okay, we'll just leave it there. If we need to change it, we'll change it there. So this would be E1 and 2. 1 being Marvin Robinson, 2 Mary Ann Wright. All right, with no further discussion, call for the vote on the agenda, redoing it.
Malinowski?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Mackey?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. So we now have added 5E, 1 and 2, the LeRae appointments. Number 5A, Business Service Center Appeals Board. There are 4 vacancies. You can see there it says 2 must be from the business industry, 2 must be CPAs. We have 2 applicants. They would both actually be coming from, well, 1 from the business and 1 from the legal. Is that correct?
Good afternoon, everybody again. Hey, Zach Kavanaugh. I just emailed the 3 of y'all the qualifications for our board. I wouldn't consider a paralegal part of the legal industry. I would want an attorney, and we currently do have an attorney on the board.
Okay, so we'll put her under, well,
And she's not a current business owner, so I would actually say she would not be eligible for this board.
okay, so she's not eligible then. Thank you for that clarification, and we just interviewed Miss Tanika Green, and you say she is eligible. She does have a current business.
Yes, sir.
And it doesn't make any difference really what the business is then, right?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Then, thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Kavanaugh, for that new information.
Thank you.
So we have under 5A1, Ms. Coulter R. Templeton is not eligible. And that leaves us to number 2, Tanika Green. If there is a desire to appoint her, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to appoint.
Okay, we've got a motion to appoint Ms. Green. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second. Any discussion? Here, yes?
I would just like to say that, we, taking in mind that we'll need to re-advertise for.
Let's make that part of the motion, please. Is that fine?
Yes, do I need to amend, or what are you saying?
No, just, if you make, just
Okay.
go ahead and restate, make a new motion. How's that?
Got it. I'd like to make a motion to appoint, was it 5-2, Tanika Green, and to re-advertise the remaining vacancies for the Business Service Center Appeals Board.
Okay, very good.
Second.
And the second. Ms. Only?
Malinowski?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
English. Barron, Mackey. I can't talk. Whew.
Yes.
I've been gone a long
Mackey.
time, obviously.
It is me, Maggie.
Okay,
Sorry.
so our recommendation to the full council will be the appointment of Tanika Green and re-advertise the other vacancies. 5B, the Music Festival, 2 vacancies, 2 applicants. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Marin.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Al Martin and re-advertise for this position, or this vacancy, the additional vacancy.
Okay, we've got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to appoint Mr. Al Martin and re-advertise the remaining vacancy. There's no further discussion. Ms. Only?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I do have just a point that I would like to say that I thoroughly enjoyed interviewing our other candidate, Mr. Philip Gilchrist. I do think that there's some probably some nerves there in this interview, also some uncertainties about how he can separate his business from his civic work. And so as we move forward, I would definitely welcome. I think that it would be a great thing for us to have a conversation to continue to encourage young people, young adults to apply for these boards and commissions.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Marin. And we'll make sure, I'm sure tonight the full council is going to want to know why we're re-advertising these. So you want to take that one when we get there?
I sure will, sir.
Okay. And I agree with you. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Only, do I call the vote, please?
Malinowski?
Yes.
Barron?
Yes.
Mackey?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. 5 C, the Richland Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees. There are 2 vacancies and there were 5 applicants. However, in reaching out through our liaison to the hospital board to find out what it was they actually needed, we were advised that they needed financial/business and legal appointees at this point in time. That they had enough of the other disciplines, in particular doctors and medical individuals. So in reviewing the list of applicants, I don't see anybody that qualifies with what they are asking for. So having said that, I will still ask for a motion, or I'll make a motion if you want.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
It just dawned on me. Want us to go back and look at page 58, applicant C4, Raquel Thomas. And now she's a local business owner. So is it financial/business or financial or what's the verbiage there?
And maybe it's up to interpretation when you confirm, but I thought they meant someone that worked in the financial field, like financial advisor.
That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah. Okay, when you said financial business,
What were their words?
It's financial/banking background.
oh,
My fault. Banking business. They both started with B. I just got the wrong B. Okay.
That
Thank
was
you.
a big one.
Yeah. Thanks, Miss Mackey.
Okay, I'm fine. I'm
Okay.
good then, sir.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion, and if you don't want to make one, I'll do it.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I would like to move that we re-advertise all the 2 vacancies for the Richland Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees.
Second.
All right, we got a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion,
Mr. Chair?
yes?
I just want to point out or make note that these people, I guess 5 applicants that we interviewed, they will remain on file for a year in case any other vacancies do come open on the board that they do fit. They will still be on file, and we do not have to interview them again.
Okay, and I also would like to say that when we re-advertise, that we re-advertise with some additional information that it is recommended you have a background in finance, banking, or the legal profession. Then we don't get 10 more applicants that are doctors. Okay, we've got a motion. It's been seconded to re-advertise for these vacancies. Ms. Only, if you'll call for the vote, please.
Malinowski,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next one is 5D, the River Alliance. We have 1 vacancy and 2 applicants, A and B. Oh, sorry, 3 applicants, A, B, and C. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to appoint applicant D.C. Scott Hicks.
Okay, we got a motion
Second.
and a second to appoint applicant D, 5D, subletter C. Any discussion on that one? And we only have 1 vacancy, so there's no re-advertising on that. Miss Only, if you'll call for the vote, please.
Malinowski,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, and the last one that we have under appointments is going to be for the LRADAC. And we have LRADAC, it will be 5E, numbers 1 and 2. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion to appoint 5E2 Mary Ann Wright.
5E2, Mary Ann Wright. And a
Second.
And a second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Miss Only, if you will call for the vote.
Malinowski,
Yes.
Barron,
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Next item that we have for action is the comprehensive review of the council rules that we had been doing for quite some time, Ms. Mackey.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify. So we just finished a recent re-advertising and took some applications in, and I know that we've worked hard on this for many, many months, and I think we've all done a good job getting through and appointing several people. And so I would love for our next committee meeting to see a true updated list of where we actually are and how many vacancies do we really have open, just to kind of determine, do we need to keep interviewing? The next meeting, do we want to just focus on rules? Kind of figuring out where we are at this point, because we've gone through a lot. So if I could make that.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was just speaking with our clerk, Ms. Only, prior to the meeting, saying we really need to start working on the council's business here and hopefully start slowing down on the interviews if we've caught up with them. And she tells me we have, that there may only be 2 or 3 interviews. And so for the next meeting, I believe we could get an hour and a half anyway of doing what we need to do here. Because by not working on these rules, we're being affected in some way when we get to the full council. So I think we need to get these as the next more important order of business than some of the other different things that are down here under the action items. Now, okay?
Yes, as long as we can have that updated.
Okay, yeah, we can get an
document,
updated list, Ms. Only.
That would be great.
Okay. What I have written down is from way back in, I guess it was June or sometime, when it came to the council rules, that we had ended with 2.3. Ms. Only, do you have something different? Or you don't have anything? Okay. All right, then we'll go with 2.3. Let me try and find it here. Anybody got those? There it is, right under everything. 2.3 was the transgressions of order is where we were. If there's nothing to comment on or to mention, we can just keep moving right along if you want. I'm just saying that's where we stopped, so that's where we'll start.
Can you give me the page?
And I'm going to find
85. Thank you.
Where? Yeah, what page are you at?
85.
85. There it is. Oh, it's a big font on this one. I'm looking at a little one. All right, 2.3, you can see what's been crossed out. If there's no comments on that one, we can move to 2.4, which is a proposed new rule for censure of a council member. And that's that entire section under 2.4.
So, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Can you give a little bit of history as to this new rule?
Well, there is no history on this rule. It was a proposed new rule that I believe our former attorney, Mr. Farah, came up with because some questions had been asked of him as to sometimes a council member does an action that may not quite be becoming what they should be as a professional elected official. What can we do? Because we can't dismiss them, and only the governor can do that, and we can't do anything at all. And he recommended, well, about the only thing you could do administratively is censor them, and this is what he came up with.
Got it. Okay.
Now, in reading this, the one thing that I made a note on was where it talks about the difference, and this would be on page 86. In the paragraph, second paragraph starts, at the hearing, the chair shall state the basis. In that paragraph, it mentions times as far as who can speak for how long. and how many times. It says no member may speak more than once during the censure unless absent the leave of the chair. And if you give every council member, as it says in that paragraph, 5 minutes, that means there's 55 minutes of talk about, well, take out the person being censored, at least 10 people. That means there could be 50 minutes, 50 minutes of talk, yet the censored person only gets 15 minutes to respond to the 50 minutes of talk. I'm not so sure that that's a fair, equal use of time by those speaking against you if they're all speaking against you. I don't know if that's something that we should, narrow down, or what. That was just a comment I came up with. I don't know how to resolve it other than to say the accused gets more time. What are your thoughts? Leave it as is? Yes? Ms. Mackey? Oh, she's reading it.
I think it's important to have times.
Well, I think it's important to have time.
To have the times and the minutes, because it's kind of like our when we have individuals that come and want to share before council, then you have your 2 minutes. Your 2 minutes is up. Thank you very much. The same thing here.
And I agree with you. They have their 2 minutes, get it in and out, and that's it. But we don't respond to those people either at that point in time. Now, what I'm looking at is, let's say, 5 minutes, 10 people, 50 minutes. And if there were 10 accusations and you got 15 minutes, if you were able to get to try and refute or comment on each of the 10, you think you're going to be able to do it all in 1 minute for each one? That's what I'm looking at, because this is, if you had 2 minutes per person that spoke against you, it would be 20 minutes. That's why I came up with that. I just thought that the accused possibly needs a little more time, depending on what is being said, that they may need more time for the clarification of their side of the accusation, of refuting it.
So what you're saying is that we would leave it in those vague terms, that the accused would get more time? I'm saying yeah.
I think we need to change the time from 15 minutes to increase it to even 20 or 25 minutes. I'm just saying change the time. We still keep a time.
Okay.
And I was asking what you thought about a time for it. I see our parliamentarian has arrived. And what, Attorney McLean, what do you think about this? Am I just reaching and, 15 minutes should be plenty, or should we possibly extend it based on your experience in these court situations, we'll call it?
I think it's probably going to be just a matter that council may want to. First off, I hope this doesn't come up a lot.
I hope it never comes up.
So, but if you're talking about a court type situation, I think what I do is, and I'm not looking at the rule. I apologize. I brought my book, but it's just it doesn't have the full agenda in it. So I think what I would do, and I don't know what Brad wrote, but give 15 minutes or some time period in the beginning, let council speak, all the members speak, and then a rebuttal for 10 or 15 minutes, a smaller rebuttal at the end or something, maybe a presentation at the beginning and a rebuttal at the end. Might help the situation for the accused.
All right, well, that's, if you want, I've got another one here if you want to take a look at it, take it with you. You can see basically it just says that any member may speak during the censure proceeding for up to 5 minutes. That's at the paragraph that starts, at the hearing, the chair shall state the basis. And it says that any member can speak for 5 minutes. No member may speak more than once. And the members subject to the censure proceeding shall have up to 15 minutes. And that's kind of where it ends. It doesn't, then you go into the potential motion or a vote. Doesn't talk about any further comments.
My thought might be to give, so maybe the chair starts out with stating the basis, the accused talks, the members talked, and the accused talk again. You know, you want to give this person that you're going to call out in front of, God and everybody, a chance to get their case out there. So, chair states the basis of the censure. Accused talks for, I don't know, up to 15 minutes, maybe, depending on what you like, what you was comfortable with, and each member talks for, that's actually up to you, 2 to 5 minutes, 3, I don't know, and then the accused gets another 10 to 15 minutes. That'd be more like a typical court hearing. They get.
Yeah, I like that. What do you think, Ms. Mackey and Barron? Do you like that format? If you do, then it's a matter of just trying to create times to go with each one of those who talks how long.
Yes, the format's fine.
I think in the beginning, the accused, if they're talking, they're going to we just want them to briefly state some facts and why they're in the situation they're in. I'm thinking maybe 5 minutes. You think that's fine? 5 minutes? Yeah, we don't need the whole thing right now. We need a synopsis. Then each member of council, how much time do you think there? I kind of like that midpoint of 3 minutes. Okay, so we'll say 3 minutes. And then the accused gets 10 to 15 more minutes. Which number do you like? Or do you like a different number?
I think that this is where they're probably going to want to get into the details, because now council members have made their case. So I'm saying 15 minutes.
Okay, I like all that. So let's, for the clerk's benefit, if after the chair states the basis for the censure, can call upon members, and then following, let's see, just any member who voted to commence censure proceedings to state the basis for the censure, if the basis is unknown to the chair, then that should be very brief. Following that, the accused can speak for 5 minutes about the censure. Then each member can speak for no more than 3 minutes, each member that does want to speak. And then in summary, the accused will get no more than 15 minutes for their last rebuttal. And down below it says, if that motion does not receive a second, at the conclusion of council input, any member who believes the censure is in order may make a motion to censure the member. If that motion does not receive a second, or if seconded does not pass by a 2/3 vote of the full council, the matter is concluded and there shall be no reference in the record to the member having been censured. I kind of didn't understand that one. I think the record should stand as it is, and in the record it should state censored but not found guilty, if that's the case.
It's almost like telling the jury to strike what they just heard.
Yeah, that's it. The jury will disregard that last comment.
Yeah. I think that if we go to the lengths of having this process in place, I think it is noted that we want to say that there was I don't know if we're calling it a trial or whatever it's called, that this meeting took place, and this is what we found. I think that we take it to that degree. Because it's almost.
And that's what I say. So in that part after the parentheses, I would say that the matter is concluded and there shall be a reference placed in the member's record that they have been censored, they had been censored and found not guilty, if that's the case. If they're found guilty, then it would take the following one. If a motion is made, properly second, received at least the 8 votes, they shall be censored and the record shall reflect so.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I guess this is a question for legal. I mean, is that technically correct though? If you file the proceedings for censorship, but they don't get a vote, then it didn't happen. So what do you mean they're found not guilty? Like it didn't happen. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
I'm saying, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I actually understand what you're saying. So I think that there's no way to undo a hearing on this matter. So you have, you bring basically, we'll say a charge for censure or something. I don't know what you want to call it. You go through this whole hearing, and at the end, you either censor the person or you decide that there weren't enough facts present to make it happen, and then, you know, the matter's declared, you know, whatever. You know, but there's still a record. Either yes, you voted for it and censored the person, and then it's over too. I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's just in their record. Or you make a finding that there wasn't enough there to do anything, so the matter's, you know, put to rest, or we'll make a name for it, whatever that might be. But does that sound...
Well, and so I guess, is this said proceeding taking place in public, or is this a closed session? Because technically, I mean, I'm just going to leave it there. You're the parliamentarian here.
So essentially, like any other thing, you would need to be able to have a reason to go executive session, and I'm not sure this counts because it's not truly a personnel matter. You don't control this person. You don't hire and fire them. So I'd have to really think about that or look into if there's any way around it. I would think it's public, and you just put a record, and you just, you know, said, this is what happened. We found this, or we didn't find that, and then it's done. That is my thinking on it, but I'll look into it a little more. It's not really anything I ever really put any thought into. Excuse me.
Mr. Chair, I would also like to add, I don't know how I feel about if a person was found not guilty of being censored, that needs to be in one's record.
That's what I said.
So
it needs to be there.
No, it doesn't. If they
we're going to have to continue this next time because we got like less than a minute left. So if Ms. McLean can come
wound up, and now you're going to just drop me.
Yeah, that way gives you plenty of time to think about it for the next one.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'm a miss only.
Malinowski.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes.
Mackey.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.